Welcome to The Explainer. When you think of Japan, you probably think of a super high-tech future, right? But what if I told you that future isn't, well, quite what it seems? Today, we're going to peel back that neon curtain to find the surprisingly human heart that's beating inside the machine.
A glorious nightmare.
The Care Bears meet Mad Max.
Or how about like a glitter factory exploded? So what do all these wild descriptions have in common? They're all talking about one place, Tokyo's famous robot restaurant. It's this total sensory overload that's basically become the poster child for Japan's futuristic entertainment.
But you gotta wonder, what's really going on behind that curtain of flashing lights and neon? Is this the AI-driven future we were all promised? Or is it, well, something else entirely?
Okay, let's just get right into it, because here's the first big shocker. The robots, they aren't actually robots. Nope, they're basically giant remote-controlled puppets, and the show doesn't even try to hide it. You can literally see the pilots dressed all in black, just walking right behind them with remote controls in their hands.
And this, right here, perfectly illustrates what we're talking about today. It's this blurry line between our perception of a tech-driven future and the very human-powered reality. And it's not just the robot restaurant. Even super popular digital art museums are sometimes called out by visitors for being, little more than expensive backdrops for your Instagram feed.
All right, so if the big flashy machines are just for show, let's pivot and look at where actual AI is making a huge mark: the world of social media influencers.
And this brings up a massive question for what is now a multi-billion-dollar industry. Sure, human influencers are still on top, but believe me, the ground is shifting under their feet, and it is shifting fast.
Just look at the scale of what's coming. Research projects that the virtual influencer market is going to absolutely explode to nearly $38 billion by 2030. This isn't some niche little trend. We're talking about the future of marketing.
And for the brands? Well, the appeal is crystal clear. AI influencers can be up to 30% cheaper, they can drive higher engagement, and they give a brand total control. There's no risk of a messy public scandal with an AI. They're available 24/7, they never get tired, and they certainly never go off script. But all this efficiency comes with some very real concerns. The rise of these digitally perfect AI models has a lot of people worried that they're promoting completely unrealistic body images. And as this quote points out, many followers, especially teenagers, might not even realize the person they're looking up to doesn't actually exist.
Okay, so now let's see how this tension between the digital world and the human one plays out in something we do every day, just talking to each other.
So a recent poll of travelers found that while, over half of us are using AI translation apps, the experience is often, it's awkward. Almost half say it makes interactions feel less personal, and nearly 40% just find the whole thing robotic and unnatural. And hey, that feeling goes both ways. A survey of Japanese businesses found that while tons of them use AI tools to help tourists, more than half of them feel the translations just sound unnatural. The tech often completely misses the subtle cues of a real conversation. And this leads to some pretty clumsy real-world struggles. Just take this story from a tourist who was trying to buy contact lens solution. Her fancy translator app just couldn't figure out the word solution. So finally, she just asked if the product was liquid. And that simple human workaround is what finally got the point across. In fact, this friction can get so bad that some smaller cafes and shops have just given up. They've actually stopped serving non-Japanese speakers entirely because trying to manage a conversation through a phone is just too much of a hassle.
So this is the big question, right? How does a tech-forward nation like Japan deal with this complex new reality? Well, the answer seems to lie in its national strategy.
First, let's get some context. Japan is actually pretty far behind its global peers when it comes to private investment in AI. It's trailing way behind the US and China. So there's a real sense of urgency to get a national strategy in place. So what did the government do? They introduced the Japan AI Bill, but they took this uniquely Japanese approach. It's called a soft law. Instead of creating a bunch of hard rules and penalties, it sets up a fundamental law, basically a set of guiding principles to encourage innovation while also managing the risks. So the bill is really focused on creating a cooperative framework. It's all about promoting research, figuring out who's responsible for what, from the government down to individual citizens, and building a national strategy, all while making sure human rights are protected. It's a balancing act, not a crackdown. Okay, so what's the big takeaway here?
I think it's that the future isn't going to be some simple battle of humans versus machines.
Instead, what we're starting to see is the rise of a hybrid model. Brands are looking for ways to combine the crazy efficiency of AI influencers with the genuine authenticity of human ones. It's about using AI as a tool to help us, to expand what we can do, not to replace us.
From the human-piloted robots in Tokyo to the awkward silence when you're using a translation app, we're discovering that there's just an irreplaceable value in real, genuine human connection, creativity, and authenticity.
And all this leaves us with one last, pretty thought-provoking question. As a new generation that grew up online starts entering the workforce, and so many of them dream of becoming an influencer, you have to wonder, will that dream job as we know it today even exist anymore?